Welcome to the Easy Bros Fantasy Football Podcast.
Coming at you from the Easy Bros studio in blistering hot Arizona.
Here are your hosts and football fanatics, Edward Green and Zach Rogers.
How goes it, Easy Bros? Welcome to the Easy Bros Fantasy Football Podcast, where we make fantasy football easy for you. My name's Zach.
And I'm Fast Eddie, your fantasy football pilot. So buckle up, hang on, because it might be getting bumpy, but we're landing in Championship City pretty soon, Zach.
Yes, we are. And don't forget our special guest, John. Say hello.
Hey guys, I'm the fantasy football noob.
We got a noob with us today. We're going to talk fantasy football. John here is going to ask us some questions for any people out there just new to the game. We feel like this is going to help you out as much as it helps our buddy John out. We got him into fantasy football for the first time. I believe, second time. He played like 6 years ago. He did not know what he was doing. That's why he gave up, but he's giving it a second go.
It's really a reapplying himself to fantasy football.
But today, in the fantasy news, we had Lions had signed Adrian Peterson yesterday. That will do something towards Kieran Johnson and DeAndre Swift. So that's something to note.
Fitzpatrick was also named the starter for the Dolphins. Tua is going to, sit there and take his spot behind Fitzpatrick and just wait to see what happens. So probably going to start around game 4 or 5. We'll see what happens there.
Clowney signed with the Titans. That was pretty interesting. Not where I was expecting him to go. I was expecting him to either go back to the Seahawks or the Saints.
Yeah, he was talking to the Saints for a while. He also was, I think, talking to Jacksonville. They were kind of working a sign-and-trade thing there. Didn't fall through. The Lions went calling, and he went there.
Josh Rosen. The
chosen Rosen.
The chosen Rosen. Signed to the Bucs practice squad. That'll be interesting. Learning from Tom Brady, possibly.
Yeah, Rosen getting his third team in 3 years. It didn't pan out for him in Arizona because they went with Murray. He goes to Miami, and they switch it up and go with Tua Tagovailoa. And now he finds himself on a practice squad behind arguably the greatest quarterback in NFL history. So I say that it's looking uphill for Josh Rosen probably if he can stick with the Bucs practice squad, learn some things from Tom Brady.
Raquel Armstead, possible bruiser back for the Jaguars. Early down back, 1-2 possible goal line carries. Out with COVID, so it looks like Chris Thompson is going to be the full-time starter.
Yeah, no timetable for him to be back. They have another rookie on the team. I really can't pronounce his name. Ozigba or Agaba, but you can check him out. He's probably worth looking and
deep stash
putting
maybe.
Yeah, putting in a quo. Just keeping an eye on him. Put him on your watch list.
Cameron Hayward signed a 4-year extension for $65.5 million, adding to that Pittsburgh D that's going almost number one in most drafts.
Cameron Hayward has really shown that he's worth the extension there, and obviously they're trying to prove to him that they think he's worth how well he's been playing in Pittsburgh.
Kamara is stating that he did not sit out due to a contract status, that it had more to do with the epidural.
He had a little bit of a back injury, so they were just taking precaution. He sat out about a week. I think he had a full practice all week last week. He was here today on Monday. He practiced, and he just wanted people to know that it had nothing to do with the contract extension. They were talking contract extension. People started saying he was out because of that, because the contract extension talks were going bad, but he wanted to clear everybody up. It had nothing to do with that, and he's here for the Saints, and he's not trying to hold out, and he's going to be the starter.
Well, we're going to talk a little bit about rookies to start this off. We need to see some rookies most times in games produce before we want to start them. They're usually sitting on our bench. You've got the rare few in most drafts that go in the first round, possible second round, that sometimes can do something in their rookie year. You know, you got your Saquon Barkley in his rookie year.
Exploded.
Among other guys.
Baker Mayfield had a great rookie season.
True. And then went downhill after
Yeah,
that.
we'll see. It'll be his third season. I just think second season's kind of hard for a guy.
I think he's bound for a comeback. If there's any time that Baker Mayfield could come back, it's easily with Odell, Landry, Austin Hooper, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt. He's got
Njoku
nothing
there.
but
Great talent. Great talent.
Yeah, great talent.
So we're going to talk about rookies. A lot of guys that maybe you've heard their names, but you don't really know what they did in college. We're going to kind of give you some insight on how they played in 2019, and we think that these guys will transition pretty well into the NFL, so we're going to let you know who these guys are.
Not only is John a rookie in our league, but John decided to also take the rookie with his first-round pick.
Edwards-Helaire?
Yes.
Right? He's going very high in a lot of drafts. He's going to be on that explosive offense there in Kansas City. Helaire,
I say risky. I think John says fate.
Yeah. Hey, we'll go with it. In college, he had, in 2019, 16 touchdowns. He had, I believe, over 200 carries. He also had 1,414 yards. So look for Edwards-Helaire to continue his progress on that Chiefs offense with Patrick Mahomes reigning MVP. Also Tyreek Hill, I think he says he's the fastest guy in the NFL, right?
Yeah.
So who else do you got there, Zach?
CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb in his 2019 season, he had 62 receptions, 1,327 yards, and 14 touchdowns.
Wow.
He's been nothing but explosive and on point in training camp. He looks like he has a great chance to possibly later on in the season take over Michael Gallup's position, number 2. I don't think he's overtaken Cooper this year.
Yeah, I think we talked about this in a previous episode about him possibly taking over Gallup. I see after those stats you hear, and you don't see how he couldn't. He's very fast, and I just see him overtaking that second spot there.
Are you curious, John, at all why we wouldn't take a running back in the first round? That is a rookie.
What happens if he does bust in the first game? Like, if he just doesn't produce anything for me, like Edwards-Helaire.
Well, and then that's the sad part too, because
did I just play Russian roulette with my first round pick?
Yes, definitely.
And I still haven't pulled the trigger technically until the first week's over.
Yep.
Yeah, I've been looking at that today, and I was wondering to myself.
Darrell Williams is supposedly going to go anywhere from 40 to 50% of snaps.
Yeah, I was reading up on that today. So, yeah, I'm just hoping that he has an explosive day that day so we can get some points.
Take that lead, roll
really
by the reins.
Feel like I made a proper decision with that first-round pick.
I really think there's high upside there on Helaire.
Definitely. First thing, he's on the Chiefs.
There might be some rookie jitters in the first week. So I wouldn't be too scared if he doesn't produce week 1. But throughout the season, he's going to produce. Andy Reid is going to make sure that he is put in the proper spot, that he produces well, and he gets a lot of points because of how that they score in Kansas City. It's a lot of points there. They throw the ball everywhere.
All right, well, let's compare the stats. Say that again. What did he have for his college, his last year in college?
234 carries, 1,414 yards, and 16 touchdowns.
All right. And he went first round? Am I correct? I believe he went first round.
That is correct.
So what about Jonathan Taylor? Another rookie who I believe will become the starter sooner rather than later for the Indianapolis Colts. For his last season in college, he had 320 receptions. 320 attempts. 2,000 3 yards, 21 touchdowns. Went in the second round. So you've got a guy like that, and you say, oh, I'm going to take Edwards-Helaire, and I'm going to take him with my first pick. But yet, this guy right here in front of me for the amazing Indianapolis Colts, he had a way better college career.
Yeah, to put it in perspective, I know it is college, and the speed of the NFL is a lot different, but Derrick Henry was the leading rusher last year, right?
Yes.
1,500 yards.
Jonathan Taylor, 3 seasons, consecutive seasons, 1,600 yards or more. 1,900 yards. Oh, my gosh.
No,
thank you for that correction, because that
player,
just makes them that much greater.
Yeah, no player in college history has ever ran that many yards for 3 consecutive seasons.
You still haven't answered my question. So then how can you make it any sense of taking Edwards-Helaire with your number 1 pick in the first round? Not the number 1 pick, but your first pick. But yet you can go and you can get that same possible talent in a different round and take someone who has been proven for years.
Well, he didn't get drafted to the Super Bowl champions. That's the whole difference. And he's not the number 1 pick or the number 1 running back of the Super Bowl champions.
All right.
That to me, that's the only reason why that you can say he's above.
Maybe I just go a different way with it, I guess. And obviously, when John was drafting, he told me, I'm a rookie. I'm going to take the rookie. I'm taking a chance. I'm going to take that chance.
Hey, rookies do crazy
And then
things.
not only did he do that, but he went and he took also Cam Akers, rookie running back, for the Los Angeles Rams, who is supposedly going to be starting. Everybody keeps getting banged up around him. Malcolm Brown is splitting reps with him for first-team work, so I'm sure he's going to get some carries too, but I see Akers making a role for himself, if he takes advantage of what's ahead.
Also, another running back that did great in college, Cam Akers, like you say. He had 231 attempts, 1,144 yards, and 14 touchdowns. You know, this guy ran a 4.47 40.
4.47. That is fast. Isn't that top 5 in the?
Yeah, he's projected to have about 900 yards and about 200 carries there, and with the Rams.
That's not bad for a rookie at all. It's not bad. I would take him. It's got to be in a certain round for me. I think John got him in the perfect round. So by all means, great pickup. Like good. No, I don't know how you knew how to pick these guys.
The fact that he went with 2 rookies.
How did you know how to pick these guys, John?
Well, that's because I had the help of my 2 good buddies, Zach and Eddie, over here.
Well, did you check out the podcast?
But honestly, I started with the 2 first episodes of their podcast. It led me in the right direction for where my roster ended up. Overall, I feel really strong and comfortable about the picks that I had.
Draft grade was higher than both of ours somehow.
Yeah, I think I had the highest draft grade. I just felt comfortable intuitionally about the picks that I had. Plus, I had some trusted advisors coming into this, so
I've got to say, yeah, I don't know how I don't think we took our own advice.
No,
in this draft.
I picked a few guys I was I picked a lot of guys actually I was very high on. I was high on Henry. I got Henry. I was high on Drake. I got Drake. I was high on Landry. I got Landry. High on Parker. I got Parker. High on Prescott. I got Prescott. I mean, yeah. I hit almost all my high notes there.
Yeah, you definitely landed on the deck, but I think I landed the
Mark
trade of
Andrews.
the day.
I got Mark Andrews.
I might have landed the trade of the day and then landed the worst trade of the day.
Anyways, we are moving on with
let's
rookie
going.
players.
I don't want to talk about that.
Jerry Jeudy is a guy that I'm really looking forward to seeing. He got drafted by the Denver Broncos last year in his 2019 campaign. In college, he had 77 receptions, 1,163 yards, and 10 touchdowns. He also, at the Combine, ran a 4.45 40. The Denver Broncos have a pretty good offense there. It seems to be looking up. At the end of the season, they had Drew Lock starting the last 5 games, and they really took a different turn.
Yeah, the offense seemed to take a higher stride with him.
Yeah, they also added in the offseason Gordon, which I think is going to help Lindsey spread the field. They're got Sutton, who's a deep threat. They drafted Noah Fant last year, and this year he's looking to step into a bigger role. So I just think
pretty good plays.
Yeah, Jerry Jeudy is just looking like a guy that you can probably trust to get targets. He's going to be open, probably slot, second receiver. They're probably going to move him around a bit there. I'm very high on Jerry Jeudy.
Kind of like Henry Ruggs. Henry Ruggs had, I believe it was 40 receptions for 768 yards. I'm not exact on that one, but it was right in that range. He 4.2740. Fastest person in the draft. Fastest person in the draft. Tyrell Williams went down, injured, out for the season. He's the number one receiver in Oakland. Derek Carr's got to throw to someone other than Waller. Josh Jacobs doesn't get a lot of receptions, so...
And Derek Carr will throw the ball. If you guys seen Derek Carr in years, has had fantasy receivers and made them very relevant.
When it comes to rookies that you're looking at for week 1 starting, I think Ruggs is right in there.
Yeah, definitely a top week 1.
He also only dropped 1 pass last season. Sorry, I was taking a second to look that up. I'm like, is that real?
Yeah, 1 pass in 2019. One pass
dropped in 2019. So he's got hands. He's gonna catch. He's gonna catch what is thrown to him, and then also he's got the speed and the athleticism to do something with it and get you that touchdown you're looking for.
Another wide receiver with legs, Brandon Ayuk. I believe I'm saying that right. He got drafted by the San Francisco 49ers last year. In 2019 campaign, he had 65 receptions, 1,192 yards, 8 touchdowns. He also ran a 40 that was 4.5. He's fast. There's a lot of fast receivers in this draft that came out.
Yeah, I think they're definitely deep league, stashes. You can easily put them on the end of your bench, the very end of your bench, and wait a game or two, see what they do. They produce. You either use them or you can even use them as a trade chip.
I believe that Ruggs is available in like 30% of leagues, and Brian Ayuk is
I think
available.
He's only 69% on.
Yeah, and I think Ayuk is even less than that. So these guys you can find, and Ayuk is the second receiver.
We're in a 16-team league.
Yeah, one of our leagues is 16 teams.
I'm pretty sure Ayuk was on the waiver wire.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. You have a lot of receivers, but this is a guy that he's probably going to get a lot of targets in San Francisco.
We've also got Joe Burrow on this list. Of course, he's a week 1 starter. It's kind of impossible to make a list of guys, of rookies that are going to start week 1 and not have him on there. 2019, he had 202 attempts, 5,671 yards, and 60 touchdowns.
Yeah, I think it's the QBR. A 202 QBR last year.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm reading that wrong. I'm sorry.
Quarterback rating of 202.
Okay. Well, the yards got me again. I should have stopped. I got to stop skipping ahead.
It's 5,000 yards.
Yes. 5,500. He pulled a Jameis Winston without the interceptions.
Yeah. Even if he had the Jamie interceptions, he still had 60 touchdowns.
So, of course, he's starting. So, we'll move on from that one.
First overall pick, man.
Antonio Gibson. Everybody's talking Antonio Gibson right now. Adrian Peterson, cut, signed with the Lions. Of course, we talked about that. But let's talk Antonio Gibson.
A hybrid player in college. He played wide receiver and running back his last year.
Yeah, I actually just traded him away to your lovely, lovely fiance. Yeah.
Lucky lady. Twice.
Anyways, 38 receptions. 38 receptions. 735 yards. 13 touchdowns.
Say he averaged 124 all-purpose yards a
game. He was
game.
used as a wide receiver, halfback, and tight end also, right?
Returner.
Returner.
Kick
oh,
returner.
Okay. Not tight end. Sorry.
So 124 all-purpose yards as a kick returner, a wide receiver, and a running back.
So if he did all this just with receiving, because he was listed as a wide receiver for college, imagine what he's going to do as a running back if that's what the Washington football team decided to.
Yeah, I think it's looking up for the Washington football team. Haskins, he's coming to his second season. We can
McLaurin.
We can see, both of them looking up. The same here goes with Antonio Gibson's. Look like they're building a team there in Washington. My next guy is Justin Jefferson, wideout getting taken by the Minnesota Vikings. Last year in 2019 had 111 receptions, 1,540 yards, and 18 touchdowns. This guy is a red zone beast. I believe he's 6'1". He's just going to be a huge target for Kirk Cousins. They lost Stephon Diggs, so that's going to fill the void for him very well. Thielen is still going to get his target, so with Thielen there, you're going to need some pressure taken off them. Cornerbacks are going to double team Thielen once in a while, and pressure is going to get taken off of Jefferson, and he's going to get a lot of targets. His yards after catch, I believe, were 12 yards after catch, one of the highest. So the guy is going to roll defenses.
Yeah, it sounds like he was picked purposely to replace getting rid of Diggs.
Yeah, he was. Sounds like a perfect replacement.
We've also got a deep rookie start. If you're in a deep league and you're short on tight ends, Devin Asiasi.
Asiasi.
I'm sorry if I am tearing that name up, but I do not know how to pronounce it. But he is the starting tight end for the Patriots. He was taken in the third round.
Yes.
Third round.
6'3".
6'3" in college. In his last season, he had 44 receptions, 641 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Not a lot. It's not a lot, but you got to wonder, is there something that Belichick sees that we don't see?
He's going to make it shine.
And he is a tight end one. So if someone stole Blake Jarwin and he was your deep sleeper for your backup tight end, or you were picking him as your starter, and you had no clue what to go with next, well, you can always go with the Patriots tight end.
You know who loves tight ends? Cam Newton loves tight ends.
Cam Newton does love tight ends. Look at Greg Olsen. And
for years,
Cam Newton's
fantasy relevant. For years, he was fantasy relevant. And Olsen, I believe this is the only year.
About the same size player?
Yeah. I think this is the only year that Olsen has dropped off from being maybe a top 10 tight end. And that's honestly, to me, because he's not paired up with Cam Newton anymore. Because Cam's going to throw the ball to the tight end.
Devin Asiasi.
Yep. Look for him.
4.5940. Also a tight end.
Yeah. Look for him. He's a stash.
All right. We've got something for you coming up, but before that, we're going to get to our pitch from Eddie.
All right, guys. You guys want to check us out and get more involved with the Easy Bros Fantasy Football? You can check us out at Easy Bros FF Pod on Twitter, Easy Bros Facebook page, or check us out at our easybrosfantasyfootball.com.
All right. Well, John, do you know what a fantasy breakout is?
I have no idea. This is foreign to me.
All right. Well, a fantasy breakout, we're talking second-year fantasy breakouts. Guys that are not rookies but are in their second year and are about to finally take form because they didn't the season before when they were expected to.
So is this in relation to the rookie that I took? Would he be considered a second-year breakout if he did not perform this year?
No. Yes, he would make this next year, yes. He would make this
the following year he would be considered a potential
So, for example,
breakout.
My first guy is Hawkinson. TJ Hawkinson came out first week against the Arizona Cardinals and blew up. He had people thinking that they could trade away their Mark Andrews, their Travis Kelce, their George Kittle because they picked him up at the very end of their bench and he is going to be the next star. And they did so. And then from weeks 2 to the end of the season, he did nothing else. He gave them nothing else. I think his next highest outing might have been 11 or 13 points. But Hawkinson was definitely just a disappointment in his rookie season compared to what people thought, and especially thought after the Arizona Cardinals game.
So being a rookie, what do I take from this moving forward so I don't make the same rookie mistake that seems like hopping on the bandwagon with that?
It's not necessarily a mistake. It could always work out in your favor, and he does amazing, so it's not a mistake. It's more of a risk factor. See, Eddie, he likes to take risk. He loves risk. I like
to ride the train nice and easy.
I prefer to be content and have a lineup where I feel my players can be interchangeable during bye weeks, and any possible injuries that pop up. And I just feel like with a first-round pick, if it doesn't work out, it really screws you. When you take a rookie in the 5th round and he doesn't work out, it's not that bad. You might even find a guy the first, second week who breaks out, and you can replace him without even realizing it. But it's definitely it's something to be observant to. That's for sure.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm super excited for this first season with you guys playing fantasy football. I've never been more excited to be on a show like this with you guys. You're super knowledgeable when it comes to the fantasy football world, sports in general. I'm a super noob when it comes to it. I have very generalistic understandings of most of this, but you guys are making it super exciting.
Let's tell the people, what's your team? Tell us your team, your lineup.
My team's New York Giants, but fantasy football world, we're working with Drew Brees on the wide receiver slot. We have Galladay. Moving down the list, you all know about my first-round pick. I'm running with the running back of Edwards-Helaire. In my second wide receiver slot, I have Lockett. Moving on down, I have Johnson.
And that is David Johnson.
That's David Johnson from the
Texans.
The Texans for my running back slot. I got Kittle. Everybody wants Kittle.
At tight end?
Tight end spot for the 49ers. Moving on down, we got Chark with the wide receiver.
And he landed Chark at the flex.
Flex slot for Jacksonville.
So that to me sounds like an amazing draft. And so, for a rookie, you started off great. You're in the perfect position. And even your bench. We won't go through all your bench players, but, me and Eddie both think you have a great bench. So, you're in a good spot. You got to pay attention to your bye weeks and any injuries and just make sure even though you don't want to trade, always look at a trade. Always think about it. Take a second. Go look at some stats. See what you're thinking. It can turn out being a good thing sometimes. Sometimes it'll drag you down.
And if anything ever happens to a good old Drew Brees there, you can look for my fantasy breakout year 2 guy, which is Drew Lock. Drew Lock last year posted a 4-1 start after the last 5 games. When he started, he had over 1,000 yards passing, 80 yards rushing, 7 touchdowns. He had a QBR rating of 89.7. Drew Lock starting a whole season, I can see him having at least 4,000 yards passing and at least maybe 800 yards rushing. He seems to, if he needs to, tuck the ball and run a few yards. I think he had 80 yards in one game. So that's obviously showing you that he can do both things with his legs and pass.
A good pickup for, your backup quarterback or someone you think might blow up and does have the possibility. He's also got great weapons around him, so it's certainly a possibility.
Yes.
I've got also Metcalf. Not that Metcalf disappointed last season, but I think he can possibly do twice the statistical value that he did last season. Metcalf is an athletic beast. He's like 2% body fat or something like that. He's not human. He's got great hands, and I think he might even possibly take that number 1 spot from Tyler Lockett.
Yeah, I think that's a very high possibility. When he was at LSU,
if you look at what Russell did last season, Russell looked for him, especially on those deep throws, and then the touchdown area in the red zone. He loved to use them. So
yeah, when he was at LSU, I think people
two.
forget that he was a monster at LSU.
Yeah,
and he came to Seattle and kind of continued that whenever he was on the field. He was taking the ball from guys whenever it was a close battle. He was running guys over when they were trying to tackle him. The guy is made to get receptions, and he's made to run all over the field.
Exactly.
Another wide receiver to look out for. I'm going to say second-year man, Preston Williams. He went undrafted. A lot of people didn't hear about him.
What?
The Miami Dolphins picked him up after the draft. He played only 7 games last year. He was
doing very good in those last 2-3 games before he went down.
Yeah, I believe that he averaged.
Him and Fitzpatrick seemed to have a little thing going on because people were paying a lot of attention to Parker at that point.
Yeah, he was averaging 9 receptions a game, about 12.2 yards per catch. So, I mean, this is a guy, if you're looking for a PPR guy, this guy's getting 10 receptions maybe this year a game. That's 10 points right there, on top of what you're going to get for yards or touchdowns if he catches them. So look out for Preston Williams. He's the guy that you can put on your watch list.
Let me throw a quarterback at you. I got Gardner Minshew, year 2 breakout.
Oh, Minshew Mania, the mustache man.
The mustache mania. Gardner Minshew had a up and down rookie season. He was forced into a start, and he did phenomenal. And I think simply because of how much money the Jaguars paid Nick Foles, they felt they had to put him back in the starter position when he was available.
And then he didn't play very well. They ripped him right back out.
All their fantasy every person on that team's fantasy value dropped. So
went back up as soon as Minshew was back in the game. I think
But I think it did mess with him a little bit.
Yeah,
He was not the same as he was in the first half of the season.
It kind of threw him off, because he was on such a roll whenever he started, and he was playing well. I don't know if they were winning too many games with him at the helm, but I know that as a quarterback, he was playing well. He wasn't turning the ball over. He was managing the game, kind of what you want a rookie to do in that situation. They did have Fournette, who was running well whenever he was on the field. That helps out.
He's in year 2. He
Yes.
knows the system better now. He's got Chris Thompson, great pass catching specialist, and everybody believes they're going to be losing a lot. So that's going to help him in the backfield.
Yep, Chark is just getting better.
Chark is definitely going to get better, and Chark was, I believe, the number 11 wide receiver in fantasy last year, so it's not like he was even bad. He outdid his expectation last year, and that was with Minshew.
And then both of them, I believe, outdid their fantasy.
They've got Tyler
projections last
Eifert,
year.
and I believe Tyler Eifert could possibly, if healthy and he stays healthy, could see 70 targets.
The Jaguars look like they're maybe throwing the season away, getting rid of some guys and trading them.
Ball a lot.
But honestly, to be honest, when a team does this, they're fantasy relevant.
They are because they throw the ball.
Yeah,
they're going to be throwing the ball. They're losing. They're going to throw the ball. Chris Thompson's going to feed off of that. Chark's going to feed off that, and of course, Minshew's going to feed off that because he's the one feeding them.
And this is the NFL. These guys don't want to lose.
No,
they don't want to lose.
Minshew mania don't want to lose.
Yeah, that mustache is not going anywhere.
He believes in himself. He believes in his team, and I'm not saying they're going to win football games, but I do believe in the fantasy world they will be relevant and they will make a difference. So, and once again, John, rookie, newbie, picked up Chark as flex.
A great choice.
So, great choice, sir. I've also got Marquise Brown. Marquise Brown came in last season injured. Fastest person in the draft, Hollywood Brown. Name says enough itself. He didn't do horrible. Not saying he did. He had flashes. He had some good games, but he also fell off in certain games, and he was battling that injury. He is fully healthy this year. He knows the system better. He's the number 1 receiver. He's going, and I believe it's the 6th, 7th round in drafts.
Yeah, even falling to the 8th round in some drafts, honestly.
And I believe he's going to at least put up wide receiver 2 numbers for your team. So at that draft area of 6th and 7th round, you're getting a wide receiver 2 for your team. That's great value. And then on top of that, have the upside with the speed, the Tyreek Hill speed, the Ruggs speed. To have that already says you have that possibility of a 60-yard touchdown.
Yeah, he played in 14 games last year, 71 targets, 46 receptions, 7 touchdowns. So he can double that, possibly, playing 2 more games, having the season under his belt and knowing the offense, I think will be really great. I have another wide receiver for you.
All right.
Love wide receivers. Mecole Hardman.
Mecole Hardman, all right.
Mecole Hardman. Last year, 41 targets, 7 touchdowns, 538 yards in his rookie debut.
You say that's not really a lot, but then you think it's only 40 caught balls, and he produced that into almost 600 yards. So that means when he touched the ball, he was averaging probably 20 yards.
Yeah, he only started 5 games. You know what I mean? So that
imagine starting.
Yeah, he played 16 games. He only started 5. If you
Anything
get on the field
anything
more.
could happen to Watkins.
Yes,
Anything could happen to Hill. Hill's already been talking about his hamstrings been tensing up during practices. They've held him out. And then Watkins is literally one injury away from being out an entire year. And then you have Mecole Hardman in one of the highest powered offenses in the league with Patrick Mahomes throwing him the ball and probably the closest speed to Tyreek Hill, working as the number 2 receiver.
He had 119 fantasy points last year.
Nice pick.
Another guy that...
I like that. I like that pick.
You know who else had the same amount of fantasy points last year?
Let's hear it.
T.Y. Hilton.
Ah,
You know where T.Y. Hilton's going in the draft?
5th round.
5th round. You can get Mecole Hardman 10th, 11th
10th,
round.
yeah.
So it's a...
Yeah, but in all fairness, because you're coming at my Colts squad here, bro.
No, I know I know he was hurt.
T.Y. Hilton was hurt a lot, and that seems to be his thing the last couple of years. But he's healthy this year, okay?
I'm just
and he's
saying,
got Phillip Rivers, and I'm telling myself and every other Colts fan, he's going to do amazing.
I'm just saying, to put it in perspective,
Jonathan
a guy
Taylor,
that's going
baby.
that high,
Jonathan Taylor,
a
baby.
guy going that high in the draft, you can wait because you can get a guy like Mecole Hardman later on.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Definitely true. So, don't forget to support us at patreon.com/easybros, where you can become a part of the Easy Bros community. We have certain different packages you can choose to become a patron with, starting as low as $3. There are possibilities of getting in contact with the Easy Bros themselves for trade evaluations, personal weekly matchup questions,
Fantasy advice.
any fantasy advice you seek. But come to www.patreon.com/easybros. We're getting into our weekly rankings for week 1. Week 1 is probably one of the hardest weeks to rank, would you not say?
Yes.
You're going based off last year's stats. You're going off of projections, and then you're basically going off of everything you could come up with yourself. So, we came up with a little ranking system of our own. John, you should probably listen up for this one, because this is going to tell you the value of players. Not necessarily their actual value, but around the actual value, because your weekly rankings are actually based off of your matchups. The matchups you're going into for that week. Because you can have a great receiver, but if he's going against a top cornerback that week, he's probably not going to be the number 1 receiver. You can have a great running back. If he's going against the number 1 run defense in the league, you're probably gonna think about not starting him, depending on what you've got. If you got nothing to replace him, you got to just go for it. You can't
Take your chances.
Take your chances. You got to hope that those playmakers can score those points for you in those hard times. But we're gonna go over a few QB rankings, talk about them. We're not gonna get too crazy into it. Let's just talk about where we think they're gonna fall and let the dice fall themselves. Of course, we've got Lamar Jackson, number 1, Patrick Mahomes, number 2. You could probably argue Dak Prescott, Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray could all be at different spots in those positions, correct?
Yeah, they could all go 3, 4, 5 in any order, depending on your draft grades of the quarterbacks, depending on probably their matchups.
Well, and you could even at number 6 throw Deshaun Watson in there, because he's also a top quarterback. I wouldn't say maybe number 2, but he's probably going in between 3 and 6, correct?
Yeah, I would say, though, I would pick Deshaun Watson as a top quarterback. Maybe in a first-tier, second-tier quarterback. He's definitely a first-tier quarterback to me.
Well, then we've got at 7, 8, 9, 10, Josh Allen, Tom Brady, Matt Ryan, Drew Brees. Would you believe that's about right?
Yeah, you got a lot of older veterans in there.
Yeah, but
Allen's gonna mix it up a little bit. He's probably gonna move up this board within this next couple of years.
He's number 5 last year, and he didn't have Diggs, and he's got everything else that he had, plus Moss and Diggs added to the squad. So that's kind of why he's so high on my rankings.
Don't sleep on Knox either. He averaged.
I think
he targeted Knox a lot at the end of the year there, and Knox was kind of outperforming his tight end status as a number 1 tight end.
Yeah, I agree with that. And then I would say Matt Ryan, my defense on Matt Ryan, Matt Ryan's going to be Matt Ryan. He's not going to run the ball, but he's still got Julio Jones. He's got Hayden Hurst to play that role that Hooper was in there, and he might not be as good as Hooper. Maybe he's better. We don't know. He's never really played a starting role. And then he's also got Calvin Ridley, Todd Gurley. So
if Gurley is the Gurley of past, which he's saying
maybe
that he's going to be.
Different. Maybe they use him different. They're talking 17 to 19 carries. They didn't talk about receptions. So if he gets 17, 19 carries and he gets 2 to 5 catches for 20 to 50 yards and a touchdown, you're going to take it, right?
Yeah, it's going to take a lot of pressure.
Won't be a bust then.
Yeah, if Gurley comes back to form, he's going to take a lot of pressure off of Matty Ice. I don't think people are thinking of Matt Ryan as that top-tier quarterback anymore, but he's definitely a Tier 2 quarterback, and with the offense that he has, if Gurley comes to form, I believe that he could be a 1-tier quarterback.
But even then, the Falcons aren't known to have one of the better defenses, and they also, their offense is going to move pretty quick.
They have to throw the ball to keep up with everybody else.
Yeah, they're going to have to throw. They always do for some reason. They can't figure out that formula. Ever since they ruined that Super Bowl, they have not figured out the formula to get back there at all. And they've had the same players pretty much since the Super Bowl. They've lost a few guys here and there. Don't get me wrong.
They also have put other guys
the core
in this
of them.
Yes.
So, and then Drew Brees, Tom Brady, both kind of in the same situation. They both got 2 great receivers they can throw the ball to, right? Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, and then you've got Michael Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders. Okay, you've got Gronk, you've got O.J. Howard, and you've got Cameron Brate. All 3 great tight ends. I wouldn't say Brate is on the great end, but maybe good.
But in fantasy, he has shown. Yeah, he's been good relevant. Fantasy stats when he has had the chance. I believe that he won a few games a few years ago where he had at least 15 to 20 points in at least 3 or 4 games.
The Saints have got Jared Cook at tight end, and then they both got great running backs. They've got Al Kamara and Latavius Murray, and then you've got Ronald Jones, who we'll see what he says. We've heard great things out of training camp reports, and supposedly he is still the starter, even with trading for Leonard Fournette. But that just gives him more versatility, and who says Fournette doesn't take that starting position? And Tom Brady and Breeze have more weapons than I think they've ever had.
Yeah, I think this is a plethora of offense that Tom Brady has.
So I ranked him a little high. I ranked Tom Brady a little high, we ranked Tom Brady a little high, but I think there's warrant for it.
He's deserved that ranking, though.
So then I've also got at 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, I've got Carson Wentz, Cam Newton, Daniel Jones, Matthew Stafford, Aaron Rodgers. What do you think on that?
I can agree with that. Aaron Rodgers is falling a little. I think that's because his last few seasons he's either been hurt or really didn't perform last year. I want to say that he played all 16 games. Maybe he only played 15 games, but he definitely wasn't the Aaron Rodgers that we're used to. That offense definitely wasn't as explosive as it usually is.
Well, and I don't think they did much to improve it, and I think that's why he's fallen so far in the drafts this year.
Yeah, the running game has improved for Aaron Rodgers, but you would think if the running game improved, it would improve the passing game. I believe that he was sacked like 43 times, which isn't good. You got to get your quarterback off the ground.
I do believe I should have had Carson Wentz a little further back, but, there's always next week. Carson Wentz, the only reason I would throw him further back on the rankings is because of all the injuries to the wide receivers, Miles Sanders possible injured. So he's got a lot of weapons out right now, and I would put a couple guys in front of him like Cam Newton, Matthew Stafford. They've got great weapons, and they could do great things in week 1.
Well, he finished a whole season last year. That was a first for Wentz. He played very well. He had 4,000 passing yards on 607 attempts, 388 completions. He did 27 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. So he can easily pick that up, I think, if his offense stays healthy.
Well, and then I've got Ben Roethlisberger, 16, Baker Mayfield, 17, Ryan Tannehill, 18, Joe Burrow, 19, Goff, 20.
I think that's fair for all of them. Tannehill, you could probably, depending on how he plays this year, he finished off the season very strong. Very strong. He wasn't the starter last year, So it might have put a damper in the way that the Tennessee Titans had started.
What I love is he had great stats for starting quarterback, but yet he didn't play the first 4 games. So it was actually a 12-game or 11 game. 11 games to start, right?
No, he started 10 games.
10 games,
Yes.
and he managed that many. So add 7 more games to his stat sheet, and he's up there with your top 10 quarterbacks.
Yeah, 10 games he had.
And he's been taking him what?
20,
Like 10th, 11th,
yards.
12th?
Yeah, and he had 22 touchdowns. 22 touchdowns.
Exactly. And he'll run the ball if he needs to. Every once in a while. I know he does. So
he had 185.
Great value at the end.
85 rushing yards last year and 4 touchdowns rushing.
I believe if everybody's healthy in Cincinnati, Joe Burrow could have a great year. He's obviously got the mechanics and the know-how to put up a 5,600-yard season. So can he do it in the NFL is just the main question.
I mean, if you think about rookie quarterbacks in the last maybe 10 years, I can't think of a rookie quarterback stepping into a situation as good as Joe Burrow's. You're stepping in with all-pro wide receiver and A.J. Green. You have Tyler Boyd there. You know that he's good. They drafted Higgins. They still have John Ross, who has been fantasy relevant multiple times. You have Joe Mixon, who they just signed for an extension, who runs all over the place. So honestly, as a quarterback, he's been put in the best position that I've seen in a long time coming into his rookie season.
All right, and then we've got Gardner Minshew, Drew Lock, Kirk Cousins, Jimmy G, Phillip Rivers, Derek Carr, Teddy Bridgewater, Tyrod Taylor, Dwayne Haskins, and Sam Darnold to finish off the quarterbacks. So, in those last 10, it's kind of hard to rank.
It's hard to rank Bridgewater, knowing that this is going to be his first season as a starter.
Exactly. There's so many factors into it, especially going into the first week.
Sam Darnold's in the perfect position. 32. You know those Jets, Jets, Jets stink. That's, I think, how they say it.
Do you have any quarterback questions for us, John? Any quarterback questions?
So, yeah, I was checking out my Giants quarterback. He's not looking good
Daniel
for the
Jones.
first week. Yeah, he's my backup quarterback. I'm hoping that he's going to put down for our Giants this season. Just in the event that something does happen to Breeze, he is my backup. I just wanted to know if that's a good option, or should I be seeking elsewhere and not holding to my Giants for a quarterback backup?
Well, you've got Drew Brees, so of course I'm going to tell you start Drew Brees week 1.
No need to panic.
Yes,
that's what we're saying. No need to panic. You have Drew Brees.
Start Brees, see what happens. Week 1, give it 2 weeks, give it 3 weeks. See what Daniel Jones does for those first 2 to 3 weeks. And if he's producing at QB1 numbers, or putting up the same numbers as Drew Brees, you are perfectly fine to start him over Brees because he's doing exactly what Brees is doing for you. And Jones has that upside of he'll run the ball. He'll run and get a touchdown, and then he'll also throw the ball. Drew Brees ain't running no more. Not at 42 years old? Is that how old he is? 40?
Somewhere around there. But you have Drew Brees who's going to throw the ball like crazy. You're definitely not going to want to start Daniel Jones against the Pittsburgh Steelers defense in week 1.
All right, we got some running backs. Let's talk some running backs. Let's just skip the guy, Christian McCaffrey, because number 1 fantasy player overall for a reason. So let's move on. Barkley, Elliott, Kamara, Derrick Henry round out the top 5. Once again, you could probably put those 4 anywhere, right, in those top 5, depending on who you like, who's your team. Do you like a guy that is that has the touchdown upside? Are you looking for the guy that's going to ground and pound and catch the ball? Some of these guys have injury history, so everything kind of goes into effect there on their draft. So
you did say McCaffrey 1, which is that's everywhere.
Easy.
McCaffrey's going 1.
Barkley's almost a given it 2. The only thing I would say there is you've still got injury risk there from last season.
You say that it's a 2, but to me, I'm going Derrick Henry. To me, Derrick Henry is number 2.
I feel exactly the same way.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry he's great. I did not rank him that way. Don't get me wrong. I did not rank him that way.
Well, that was based on because
that's the
guys
matchup.
above him is the catching ability.
No,
it
was based on the weekly matchup.
The weekly
Simple
matchup.
as that, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but Henry overall, like if we were still drafting, which drafts are pretty much over now, I would definitely take.
But Tennessee plays Denver week 1. Denver's defensive line is very good. They get at the quarterback.
Elliott doesn't catch the ball a lot, so that's why I always drop him on my rankings. He's always top 3, but he never makes top 3 for me because he doesn't catch the ball a lot. But he does produce on the ground. He gets a lot of carries. He gets a lot of attempts. He gets a lot. And so I'm not saying he's not a great a great halfback. I'm just saying that when I'm picking a halfback in the first round, I want to know that halfback is good in the pass block because that means he's going to be in on pass plays.
Yeah.
He's going to be in on pass plays and produce on pass plays, but also he's going to get the bulk of the load at the lead running back position.
Yeah. Those two, like you said, those 2 through 5 running backs are definitely interchangeable depending on their matchup, but all of them do such great things on their team, and they make their team better. What do you have for 6?
Then I've got Aaron Jones, Austin Eckler, Nick Chubb, Joe Mixon, Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook is really low on mine. I'm sorry, but it does worry me with the contract. I know he's not holding out. I know he's in practice, but in the beginning of the season, in the beginning of the pandemic and everything that was being spoken about when it came to the NFL possibly not going on this year, he didn't seem like he wanted to play.
Be a part of the team, yeah.
Yeah, because he hadn't got his extension, so why does he want to play during a pandemic and he's not even getting paid his money? What is he making, like $4 million this year or something?
I don't really know the just
definitely not making his running back value.
Not what he's been producing. He's not making what he.
And so I don't hold it against him, but at the same time, I'm not drafting him at 4th overall. If there's a chance he gets mad one day and goes, you know what, you guys better pay me, or I'm just not showing back up, and then goes home.
Because that's been kind of an MO of running backs of late. Whole reason
that made
why
me sad. I would probably cry on that day.
Yeah, if he was your fantasy running back.
Yeah, if he was my running back, and then you wake up the next day and you're all excited and you're thinking about fantasy football. You think football's coming Thursday. Football's coming Thursday. We've been waiting for this. Oh hey, guess what? Gone.
Dalvin Cook not playing.
Dalvin Cook decided he wants his money before he steps on the field.
Let's hope that doesn't happen.
You're screwed 3 days before the start
let's
of
hope
your
that doesn't
fantasy
happen.
season.
I'm hoping that what happened with Le'Veon Bell is something that continues, because when you see what happened to Gordon last year, it didn't pan out well for Gordon. He came into the season late.
Well, and then it didn't even work out for him after the season.
It didn't.
Because then he ended up with the Broncos for less money than what he wanted from the Chargers.
Honestly, probably.
And what the Chargers had offered him in their
probably
original
fell
deal.
into a better position to be with the Broncos. So it worked out in his favor in that way, but it didn't work out in the way that how he had it planned.
Well, and then we've got Aaron Jones, Austin Eckler. Both of them finished in the top 6 last year. Both going in the second round in the drafts, and both of them, I believe, are going to produce great numbers.
Eckler is still kind of underrated, I believe, on a lot of drafts, and he shouldn't be.
I'm a little hesitant towards Aaron Jones, just knowing that he's got a rookie, Dylan, number 2 behind him now, and then also has Jamal Williams behind him, who took carries and catches all season last season and the season before. So you've got 3 guys, and Green Bay seems to like to use multiple running backs.
They do spread the ball out quite often.
I definitely don't see Aaron Jones getting 19 touchdowns again. That's not happening. Anybody who thinks that's happening, you're crazy, and you need to lower your expectations. Because
even they've talked very high of Dylan in camp, so I see that he's going to get a lot of touches, and when you start giving guys touches, they're going to make the best of their situation.
All right, we're going to keep them moving. Chris Carson, Kenyon Drake, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Josh Jacobs, Miles Sanders. Now, I have Clyde Edwards-Helaire, John, ranked as the number 13.
Still top 15 back.
Still top 15, but he falls on my list simply because he is a rookie. And there's a possibility of Williams taking 40 to 50% of his snaps to start out with, and then that worries me a little bit. Yeah, I see the points, but it doesn't mean those projected points are going to come out to what the actual points are. I've had someone get, Travis Kelce's going to have 21 projected points this week, and he got me 7.
Yeah,
so
that's happened lots of times.
I've learned the projected points don't get to me. Me and Eddie Zach and Eddie, easy bros, play each other first week of our paid league. And
I'm projected 8 points more.
He's projected 8 points more. But do you think I think he's going to beat me? Heck no, bro. I'm coming at you with the Hilton Delight.
A guy that I have on my squad here, we were talking about, Kenyon Drake, definitely should be a little bit higher on this list. And he will prove that throughout the season. This is week 1.
I don't know.
Week 2,
I think
we'll
they're
see him
gonna
up there
use,
more.
I think they're going to use Chase Edmonds a little more than people believe.
Either way, have them both.
He's a great playmaker.
Keep moving
I
on.
know. Yeah.
Who else do we
All right, let's go. Bell, Connor, David Johnson, Melvin Gordon, Todd Gurley to round out the top 20 for my rankings.
How do you feel about Todd Gurley? You think he's coming back healthy?
I hope so, but I have not drafted him anywhere.
I don't either.
I won't take that risk. I don't take injury risk when it's multiple seasons in a row of disappointment. If I was getting the Todd Gurley from 3-4 years ago, yes, I'd draft him in the 3rd, 4th round. Now, no. No, I can't do that. I can't take him in the 4th. He's going in the 4th, and I would not take him in the 4th when 2 years in a row he's been injured for most of the seasons, and he hasn't produced, and then he was basically let go for nothing. So
Melvin Gordon?
Melvin Gordon's kind of a similar situation. We know he's healthy. We know he's healthy now. He's on a new team. He's the number 1 running back, but Lindsey is not going to, just sit back and not play. Like, he's going to get, I would say, kind of another similar situation, 60-40 split.
Yeah, probably.
Lindsey is a playmaker out of the backfield.
I don't believe
so
that Gordon was already
in the passing plays.
Gordon was named the starter, I believe.
Yeah, and I see Gordon as a 1-2 punch for 1st and 2nd down if they're going to run, and a red zone threat for stuffing it in.
For me, knowing that Gordon is possibly going to be the red zone guy, that puts me higher on the list for him, because I see that Denver is they're gonna score.
Yeah,
I really feel like this team is gonna score.
No, they will.
The last 5 games that they played, like I said, they went 4-1. They outscoring their opponents almost by 10 points in all those games.
All right, we got Ingram, Mostert, Fournette, Jonathan Taylor, Kareem Hunt, 20 through 25. Sounds about right?
Yeah, those
you
guys are all going to produce.
You could argue probably Mostert and Ingram could move up above some of the previous guys, but it's all about the average.
And the matchup, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hunt can be moving up there depending on the matchup. If you think that the Browns are going to play a team where they're going to either just run all over them, or Hunt's going to be pulled out of the backfield and they're not even going to get Chubb in the game, and Hunt's going to get all the passing.
Watch
so you can look out for that.
Taylor. Watch out for Jonathan Taylor, people. He's coming. He's coming in like a bull looking at a red flag, and he's going to take a hit.
Is that your number 26?
He's going to. Yes. He's my number 20. No, he's my number 24. Traded for him today. Very excited. First time I've had 2 Colts players on the same team ever. So it's going to be something different this year for me. Trying some new things. I'm going to get out of my little fantasy bubble, and I'm going to try some new fantasy activities.
Yeah, well, you're doing a great job so far.
But we got to get bunk beds, so we've got more room.
Yeah, for activities and stuff.
All right, last guys for the running backs. We've got Howard, Singletary, Marlon Mack, Akers, Gibson, Johnson, Swift, Tariq Cohen.
Yeah, a lot of these guys are rookies, and look for them to be moving up on this list.
A lot of guys split in time.
The only guy I really don't see moving on this list is Swift, to be honest with you. It seems like he's hurt.
Yeah, he's hurt right now.
They brought AP in, and AP
moves and that moves Johnson up a little further on the list, because he's starting now, and he's also gonna pick up those carries Swift would have stole.
Yeah, I really feel like
Adrian Peterson might steal them also. So
them signing AP is kind of, he's looking for that rushing title. He's got a couple thousand more yards. He's gonna run up there with Emmitt Smith, and I think he's really trying to do that. So he's gonna make every possibility count.
We talked Cam Akers during our rookie session. John's other guy, another rookie he drafted. Cam Akers, I believe, is going to have a good season. He does have the starting position, so we're going to see with what he rolls with. They're projecting him around 900 yards. If he stays the starter, I believe he could do that plus some. We've got Antonio Gibson to end that one. Antonio Gibson is the starter, rookie. He was a receiver in college.
We talked about him earlier. Yeah,
talked about him earlier. So he could be a dynamic playmaker for the Redskins. They see something. They're trying something.
The Washington football team.
Let me correct myself. It's hard. For so many years, we've called him one thing. So, But yes, the Washington football team. John, do you have any running back questions for us? Anything about some running backs? Anything about statistics? What you think your running backs? Which running back should you start?
Well, yeah, I was wondering about Cam Akers. It sounds like I do have a good pick for my bench running back.
Oh, you have a great one.
When it does hit,
you could argue starting.
Week, I have no doubt that he's going to produce for me. Sure, I'm going to be switching him out on certain weeks throughout my season. I'm just super excited to see what Cam Akers is going to do coming from the bench on my roster.
I could see you starting him. Him and Johnson, you could kind of go on a matchup basis. I could see something like that. You're going to want to start your first round pick.
Absolutely.
You start that till the day you die. Because if you don't, we're probably going to give you crap. We're going to hold you to that. We'll have to give you that little trophy with the toilet bowl on it. Anyways,
my wife already bought me one of those.
Next year, I'm going to convince you to take a kicker in the third.
Yes, like we did. That was terrible. Anyways, wide receivers. Let's talk some wide receivers. Of course, Michael Thomas, number one.
Doesn't really have to be talked about.
Yep. The other guy that doesn't need to be talked about.
Yeah.
Name shall not be said.
I think our top three guys are kind of guys that are
Julio
given.
Jones, DeAndre Hopkins.
It's kind of given your top three.
Top five are kind of given. You could take any of those number one in the wide receiver category.
I'm a little leery on Tyreek Hill. I want to see that he plays a full season without being hurt or, God forbid, anything happening to him.
We've got Devontae Adams at 5, and in most drafts he's going second wide receiver. So that's what I mean. You could almost take any of them as the number one receiver off the board. It's good little area. And then you head into the 6 through 10. We got Chris Godwin, Cooper Kupp, Kenny Golladay, Amari Cooper, Mike Evans.
Kenny G's looking up.
Some people say Mike Evans should be further out. I think Tom Brady's going to use him. I think Tom Brady's been waiting for a receiver of his athleticism. He's 6'5".
Since he lost
he's 6'5".
Randy Moss over there, since he left, he really hasn't had a receiver. When he was in New England, they brought in N'Keal Harry.
Not saying he's not going to use Chris Godwin.
They tried, right? That's what they did. They brought N'Keal Harry in to try to be that big presence, and now he has Mike Evans, and he's going to show everybody what Mike Evans should be. I believe Tom Brady still has it. Not only that, the offense is just so good. We already talked about all the players that they have and their weapons, and he's just going to show how much better Mike Evans is than other receivers in the league.
And we've got Thielen, Smith-Schuster, Beckham, Allen Robinson, DJ Moore. Sound about right, 10 through 15? I think the Juju Smith-Schuster, some people have him a little lower. Odell Beckham, some people have him a little lower. But I think with Roethlisberger back, Smith-Schuster's going to have a better season. He did what he did last year with two nobodies at quarterbacks. So I think the Ben Roethlisberger upgrade is going to upgrade himself. Like, he's going to be a good receiver.
Yeah, I mean, he had guys named Duck and Ha.
Don't forget he learned from it. As bad as people want to think Antonio Brown is, he's a great wide receiver. He might not be a great person in your opinion, but he's a great football player, and that's who Juju Smith-Schuster's been learning behind. So,
and they have a good young receivers there, and Schuster is definitely going to get the workload. Watch out for Eric Ebron also maybe getting some receptions, but with Eric Ebron there, I feel like freeing up the middle of the field is going to get Schuster deeper, and you're going to get a lot of deep throws from Roethlisberger to Schuster.
Odell Beckham, if Mayfield can make a comeback and produce at what he's been expected to produce for the last 2 years, Odell Beckham could possibly see an uptake in targets, receptions, yards, touchdowns, anything. You never know how it's going to go. They have a lot of people in that system now with Hooper and Landry.
A lot of target shares there.
But Odell is Odell. He makes those fantastic one-handed catches, the catches you don't see someone else grabbing, he's going to grab it.
Well, Baker's first year, he had Landry and a couple other guys that aren't even on the team anymore, and he was making them all 1,000-yard receivers.
Exactly.
So he has 1,000-yard receivers that came to his team without him. He can definitely get them to be 1,000-yard receivers again.
All right, well, then we've got Robert Woods, DJ Chark, Keenan Allen, T.Y. Hilton, Devontae Parker to round out 15 through 20.
Devontae Parker definitely should be higher on this list. I'm just
Devontae Parker, I feel like should, but at the same time, he is hurt, so I had to back him up. If he's hurting a little bit, he might not produce at 100%. So that drops him in my rankings. I do agree with you. If he is perfectly healthy going into the season, he would have made top 15 for me.
He had nine touchdowns
but if you
going
notice,
into the season.
if you notice, T.Y. Hilton is sitting right under him, so don't think I'm biased, okay?
Yeah, that's all right, man. That's
there
all
you
right.
go. You can't argue me,
That's
man. T.Y. Hilton is right there at 19. DJ Chark at 17. DJ Chark is going to have a great year. If Minshew and the Jaguars are losing all the time, what are they going to do? Throw the ball. What does Chark do? He catches the ball, and he takes it to the touchdown. Take him. He's very good. Anyways, we've got Lockett, Sutton, McLaren, Landry, Edelman. That's our 20 through 25. You're still getting great wide receiver 2 value out of all of those players.
Lockett's still number 1.
Well, yes, but I'm saying
you're getting
wide
Landry,
receiver 2 are up.
You're getting Landry, I think, who, since he came into the league, I believe has led the league in receptions since he's been in the league. So you're only going to get a guy that catches the ball. You're only going to get points. You're in a PPR league. You're trying to target Landry, a guy that gets all the receptions.
Yes, you are. And then to round off our wide receiver rankings, we've got Tyler Boyd, A.J. Green, A.J. Brown, Calvin Ridley, D.K. Metcalf, Stephon Diggs, Marquise Brown, Michael Gallup. I think all of these guys are kind of interchangeable, all depending on matchup, all depending on situations. These guys can be, you can move Gallup from 33 to 26. I think a lot of people have Gallup rated early 20s?
Yeah.
I can't do that.
Yeah.
If you've got Amari Cooper, you've got Michael Gallup, and you've got CeeDee Lamb, Ezekiel Elliott's going to run the ball, you're not going to be able to produce 3 wide receiver 1s, 3 wide receiver 2s. It's just not possible. Someone's got to take a hit. I think CeeDee Lamb will be used. I think it's going to be a sparse thing, though. He's going to be in the 3 wide receiver sets. He's not the second receiver. He's the third. So when you've only got your 2 wide receiver sets in those run situations where Ezekiel Elliott's out and you're using more tight ends, of course, what are they going to do? They're going to run the ball, and even in that, in the play action, they're going to have Gallup and Cooper on the field. They're not going to have CeeDee Lamb. So I just don't think you can produce 3 quality. 2's hard enough. You see that with Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. Jameis Winston had to throw 5,500 yards to make 2 wide receivers both top 15.
Yeah.
So it's kind of unbelievable. But all right, let's get into some tight ends. Got some tight ends? We got some tight ends.
Number 1 tight end is
I got George Kittle.
arguably George Kittle, I believe, and 2 is Kelsey. They're right there neck and neck. They're about the same player.
I
They get
think
about
even
the same
this year,
target shares.
I think this year you could put Andrews up there with him. You don't think the same thing?
Oh no, I definitely do. I think Andrews showed last year that he can be in that top tier of.
I'm not saying you wouldn't think a
tight
little
ends.
harder about it than you would Kelsey or Kittle, but I don't know.
I definitely feel like those 3 guys are gonna.
Waller
eventually-
Waller finished above Andrews. So
yeah.
if you're throwing Waller up there with him, Andrews, you might want to throw Waller up there without even knowing it. It's scary because Derek Carr's throwing the ball, but it's not that bad of a situation. Then you've got Ertz, Ingram, Gronk, Hooper, Cook, Doyle.
Doyle's very underrated on this list.
Yes, he is.
You
Because Philip
have
Rivers
there.
loves the tight end.
He does love the tight end.
I can't believe some people got him 17, 21. I'm like, he's a starting tight end. The Trey Burton out for the season already. They traded for him, so targets are all going to be there. I think Doyle's going to have the best season of his career with Philip Rivers.
In my opinion, I feel that Hooper is a little high, just for the fact that he is in a new spot. They have so many mouths to feed.
He finished number 6 last year.
I do.
And that was while getting hurt.
I get that.
He
And you had
doesn't
Matt
drop the
Ryan.
ball.
You had
He
Matt
doesn't-
Ryan throwing him the ball. It's a different situation with Matt Ryan throwing
He
you the
doesn't
ball.
drop the ball.
You have Matt Ryan throwing your ball is different.
That
than
guy was
Baker
going
Mayfield.
7 for 7, 12 for 12. last year. Like that guy.
I'm just
great.
saying. I just don't think that he's going to get the target shares that he's
I'm
used
glad
to in Atlanta.
we don't agree on this. I'm glad. It's about time.
What do we got next?
Give me some more. Then I've got Fant 11, and so on. Tyler Higbee, Hunter Henry, Mike Gesicki, Hayden Hurst, T.J. Hawkinson, Dallas Goedert, Blake Jarwin, Greg Olsen.
Greg Olsen moving to Seattle.
Yep,
it's a nice change of pace for
he's
him.
named the starter. I was kind of worried about it. I thought Disley or what was that other guy's name? The other tight end he was using last year, Hollister.
Yeah,
he's the third, and they've got Will Disley is the second, and then they have Greg Olsen as the starter. So it kind of worked out.
Yeah, I just don't. I see last year that they use the tight ends a lot more than they usually do there in Seattle. I just don't see them using Olsen as much as he was being used in Carolina.
Yeah. And then we've got Herndon, Smith, Graham, Ebron, Irv Smith Jr., Ian Thomas, Dawson Knox, Tyler Eifert, O.J. Howard, Kyle Rudolph, and Jake Stedenberg.
I'm going to go off on Johnny Smith here. I am a big fan of I'm a big fan of Tannehill.
Yes.
When he was in Miami, he liked to look for his tight ends. He targeted his tight ends in situations when he was uncomfortable. Jonnu Smith is the number one tight end there. Delaney Walker is no more in Tennessee. So I would look for Jonnu Smith to really take a step up in this offense. Everybody, I think, in the Tennessee offense is taking a step forward.
Yeah, I could agree there. There's some good ones on the back end right there. You've got Blake Jarwin, who everybody seems to be ranting and raving about. He is a starting tight end for the Cowboys, but it's kind of a similar situation. Yes, there's a little upside. He's
a lot of
young,
mouths to feed.
But there's a lot of mouths to feed there. Just like we talked about, he's got 3 receivers he's trying to throw to, and then you've got a running back who runs the ball a lot. So they can't fit everything in.
A guy to watch there at the other end is Tyler Eifert.
Yeah, Tyler Eifert might be a surprise. It might be that deep dive tight end that you're looking for, definitely.
I mean, someone in Jacksonville has to
They're
get
not
targets.
even using him for blocking situations.
No.
He's just for passing.
Yeah, they're going to have Chark there. Someone else is going to have to eat up some receptions. So it's going to be Eifert. Eifert has shown in the past that he can catch tight ends. He's a red zone threat. I would really look for Eifert on a watch list and just keep an eye on him.
All right, we're not going to go too far into it with kickers. Of course, when you think of a kicker, and you know what? I feel so rude. John, do you have any questions for us about tight ends before we move on? I totally forgot to ask you.
No, I got Kittles.
Oh, so, you got Kittles, so you don't have no problem.
Be sitting pretty.
He got no tight end problem. So
that was my number 2.
We're going to talk about kickers.
Got
not
Kittle,
much to
got
them.
No problems.
Got Kittle, got no problems. Anyways, kickers. Not much to say. Usually you try to land a kicker that has a team that's going to score a lot of points. It's going to put up a lot of points. The faster they put up points, the more the kicker's kicking.
Yeah.
So, and putting up points for you. Of course, you've got your Butker for the Chiefs because they put up a ton of points.
Yeah.
It just comes down to points. So I'm just going to list off the rankings. Not going to go into every single player. They're kicking the ball. It depends on their offense, their offensive output, their defensive, the opponent they're playing.
Yeah.
It all depends. So I've got Butker, Justin Tucker, Will Lutz, Zane Gonzalez, Greg Zerlin, Chris Boswell, Kamai Forbane, Ryan Suckup, Matt Prater, Robbie Gold, Young Hoku, Jake Elliott, Mason Myers, Austin Serber, Dan Bailey, Brandon McManus, Mason Crosby, Joey Sly, Matt Gay, Chase McLaughlin. Matt Gay did get released, so I'm sure he's going to get picked up somewhere, though, because it seems like everybody, hey, he might go to the Patriots. They still don't have a kicker.
Yeah, another guy, Tennessee Titans have been just picking up the free agency guys that have been left. So Steven Gostkowski, the NFL's leader in, I believe, field goal percentage at like 87.6, I believe it was, just signed with the Titans. He's their starting kicker. So look out for that. The Titans, I believe, are going to put up a lot of numbers. So Gostkowski is going to put up a lot of fantasy points. In past, Gostkowski has been, I think, a top 5 kicker most years. So just look out for him to be a watch list kicker after him being signed on Sunday.
You got any kicker problems, John?
No, I think I'm set. I got Fairburn.
Fairburn. All right. Yeah. Yep. Texans.
For now.
They've got Cook. They've got Fuller. They've got, Watson.
Cobb,
David
Johnson,
Duke Johnson. So they might have a high-powered offense, and that's a good kicker to have behind you. He's gonna be having a lot of attempts. So, all right. Well, we got some defenses here. Defensive situations kind of come down to matchup for the most part. You've got your top defenses, your top 5, who you might start almost every week, but beyond that, then it just becomes a matchup game. Who's the worst team, and whose defense can you pick up to go against that worst team?
So, what's your biggest matchup key? What do you look for when it comes to defensive matchups?
I look at weapons against the defense, offensive weapons against the defensive weapons. So, say for your team existence, for instance, the Dolphins, you have 3 great cornerbacks. The Patriots play the Dolphins week 1. So, say I had Edelman. I would not be starting Edelman simply because I know he's going to be playing great defensive backs, and he's not going to produce as, say, he plays the Jaguars.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
He plays the Jaguars. I'm probably starting Julian Edelman.
Yeah. I honestly couldn't tell you who a cornerback is in Jacksonville. By name, I can't tell you. But
and exactly, that's what I'm saying. So you know those matchups. You know those defenses that have the corners, that have the safeties, that have the ends, that are going to knock your guys out. You know those defenses that has great run defense is going to stop your running back, and so you got to switch your running back out for the week.
All right, but as a rookie, what am I looking for throughout the season? Am I going to be staying stagnant with the defense that I've chosen?
Who's your defense?
Just to put it out there, I got Denver for my defense.
It's a good defense. Good defense.
Yeah,
Von Miller.
Am I going to be shifting throughout the season?
Yes, there's going to be There's going to be points like where Denver plays certain teams, and you just don't think they're going to win. If they're not going to win, their defense most likely isn't scoring a lot of points if they're losing.
All right, so am I looking for?
They're actually you can lose points with your defense if a team scores so many points. I'm sorry, say that again.
Coming into the week, he said, can he switch his defense out? And
yes, yeah, you can. That's what the waiver wire for.
The waiver wire.
I guess we should have talked about that, John. There's a waiver wire where they're basically free agents. They're out there. If you feel you want to drop somebody off your team and pick up somebody on that waiver wire and put them in place of them, you can do that.
And you can do that every week.
Every week. They're
what, before the game starts?
Before the game starts. He asked, what's the deadline? So defenses come down. You've got Pittsburgh, you've got the Ravens, you've got the 49ers, Bills, Saints. I'd say those are top 5 in my opinion.
You can go any which way with the top 5. Those guys, all those teams will put you in a perfect position to score.
And you'll be able to start them more weeks than not. Anybody below the top 5, top 10 defenses in the league, they've got bye weeks, and then some players start to get hurt. Your good defensive players on teams start to get hurt, and that defense just doesn't produce for you the same way. So you got to go out, like look at the Bears last year. Bears are being drafted around, I believe it's 7th out of all defenses, number 7 off the board. And last year, I think they ended in number 16. I'm pretty sure it was. So it just all depends. I typically stream defenses. I don't pick a defense early in the draft. Kicker, I'll stream a kicker every single week. I did
kickers and defense based.
I did an entire season where I streamed quarterbacks. I just switched quarterbacks nonstop. Stafford, Dalton, all kinds of guys. I think the only things that are must need are halfbacks, running backs, tight ends.
Unless you have that top tier quarterback that you really can't pass up, which is Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
If you think that he's gonna run the ball as much as he passes, if he's just passing the ball, you go for a guy that's gonna run and pass like a Lamar Jackson, like a Kyler Murray. Like
you want guys that do multiple things.
Yes,
it's
yes.
The
Deshaun Watson.
It's the chance of giving you more points, just like Edelman throwing the ball and John Brown throwing the ball. Like, they're not just catching the ball. They're not just getting touchdowns receiving. They throw a flea flicker, and Edelman's throwing the ball down to Neil Harry.
Yeah, that helps you with wide receivers, too, that take runs out of the backfield or that do a lot of pitch and catch plays.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for today. We're going to thank John for stopping by and being our guest. It was really fun. I hope he got a lot of information from us, and maybe you guys did too. We would love for you guys to subscribe and join us for tomorrow's episode.
And don't forget, join us at Patreon at www.patreon.com/easybros.
Later, Easy Bros.
Thanks for joining the Easy Bros of the Easy Bros Fantasy Football Podcast. Don't forget to join us for our next episode. Like, subscribe, and check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and also our website, EasyPod Bros at EasyBrosFantasyFootball.com.